What's good, everybody? This is the one and only TQuest, and you are tuned into the TQuest Show with DJ El Nino.
Here to guac them, 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 mic.
The TQuest Show with DJ El Nino. Relatable, informative, yet entertaining. If you think you can handle being a guest on the show, contact us today. We've interviewed independent artists to mainstream, regular folk to celebrities. You never know who's going to be our special guest, and one day it may just be you. Follow us on all social media platforms at TQuestGLM and DJ El Nino. El Nino. El Nino. Hey you. Me? Yes, you. What up? Are you ready to take your brand to the next level? Hell yeah! GLM Designs can help you with just that. Word? From laptop skins? You lying! Promotional flyers? Yo, son! Promo videos? I need that! OBS Twitch overlays and backgrounds. Hey, yo, let me get that. Professional one sheets and so much more.
Oh my god.
Please visit our website,
I'm on it right now.
GottaLoveMeWorld.com today to check out our designs.
Get it!
Follow us on social media at Gotta Love Me World.
Follow it!
GLM Designs are here to take care of all your graphic needs.
That's right. We're here to take care of all your graphic needs because we live in the world of visuals and presentation is everything. Okay, but
everything. I guess that means I got to turn my camera on. That's what we're doing.
Of course.
All right, let me see if I can find it. Setting 1, 2, and here comes the 3. Ooh, look at this.
Get it.
Well, I'm all dark. I need my light.
Absolutely. And then especially since we live in the world of entrepreneurs, so many people are radio personalities, podcasters. So, if you need anything to help take your brand to the next level, all you got to do is contact us on any of our social media sites and, we can make some things happen.
You can make something happen?
We can make something happen.
All right. I'm looking up my light. One of my lights blue. That's why I look all dusty and dark. I'm going to have to fix that. I'm going to let you start it off and I'm going to fix that light. So,
all right, sounds
so
good.
I'm not on here like that.
Absolutely.
Right?
But yeah,
what are we doing today?
Today we have a special guest. Special guest.
Okay.
And I'm super excited because I love when we have a variety for the listeners.
That is. That's what we do.
Whether they're listening from a streaming platform, live from Facebook,
got a lot
YouTube,
of them listeners, all right?
Absolutely. Or even on the multiple radio stations that we are syndicated on. Is always something for someone.
I had somebody talking to me about a show that was on one of our stations. They was like, yo, remember you interviewed the dude last week? And I'm like, who? And it was somebody we did a minute ago. Because it's not like we live on the station, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, all right, I remember now. I said, yeah, we did that a while back, though. But they liked it, so that's the way it should be.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm going to fix my light, you know what I mean? And I'm going to give you the sunshine to get the interview, and I'll chime in after I get my light all set up.
All right, sounds good. Yep.
All right.
Okay, so without further ado, we're going to bring on today's guest because he has a lot of things going on, and I'm ready to chop it up with him. So he's going to let you guys know who he is and where he's actually checking in from.
Hello, welcome. We're here, right? Am I in the right place?
Here. You are in
wonderful.
The right place.
Good. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It is my pleasure. So, Doctor, where are you checking in from?
I am checking in from Stillwater, Oklahoma currently. I'm at Oklahoma State University.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So let's get right into what we're here today because I've definitely checked you out and your website and everything. You have a lot of stuff going on. So let's start from the beginning. You are Dr. Stephen Graves, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what you do as a doctor, as a professor, and we're going to start there.
All right. Well, first and foremost, I want to give a shout out to Howard University, where I got my PhD in political science in Washington, D.C. I know a lot of HBCU love, especially this time of year. And so I definitely want to give a shout out there. So I am a professor at Oklahoma State University in the Department of Political Science and the Center for Africana Studies. My main research area is in, Black politics, African-American voting behavior, social movements, Black nationalism, Pan-Africanism, and just American government. So I teach everything from intro to Africana studies to Black political thought to Black popular culture. Black athletes. Last year I was fortunate enough to teach a course on Tupac Shakur at the University of Missouri, which was really dope.
Oh,
So,
nice.
all things that concerned and in the liberation of Black people in this country and others, I'm in there somewhere.
I love that. I love that so much. I love that so much. Do you feel HBCU are still as important as it was years ago? Because I know it's not that much talk about it as much as it used to be. How do you feel about
Yeah.
that?
No, I think if anything, they're even more important for a couple. I mean, especially given the political culture that we're kind of in right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
These white folks are anti DEI, critical race theory. Everybody's a product of affirmative action and everything else like that. So, given the election, given what's going on in the country currently, I think it's absolutely vital that Black people in this country and others have an educational institution of our own that focuses on our history and on our culture and our experiences and our ways of thinking and doing and solving our own problems. So that's the first part. The second part of it is, I think, is just as Black people and as a Black person, I think it's important that we just have our own stuff to begin with. Again, I just think about K through 12, and I just thinking, who would you rather have teaching you about yourself? I just remember being in high school and middle school and whatnot, and watching Roots and slavery shows, and then being the only Black kid in the class, and everybody turns and looked at you and expect you to talk, and they pretty much just taught you slavery, slavery, MLK, civil rights movement, Obama. That's it. And so, so it's nice and so we need those places, spaces, institutions where we can learn, a lot more about, our history, where we come from, pre-slavery, pre-colonialism and stuff like that. And so now more than ever, it's important that Black people have those places and spaces where we can do our own thing and learn about ourselves our own way.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I can definitely relate to that, being someone who've been to a predominantly white school and sometimes was the only Black student. I'm just like, just because we're talking about it, it's not me. I know everything,
Right.
So I'm not going to answer all the questions because last I checked, we're all in the same grade.
Yep.
Don't single me out because of the color of my skin. And to be honest, I was always offended by the lack of Black history in the history classes, and I'm just like, how come every month or Black History Month, we're always talking about the same
over and over and over
and over, as if
Harriet Tubman.
Dude, we lucky to get Harriet Tubman. We were lucky to get Harriet because that could be a little too revolutionary for some of these folks. So I mean, the thought of escaping and running and stuff like that, for some of these places, they don't want to tell that story. So we wasn't even getting Harriet Tubman where we was at.
Mm-hmm. As I think it was more of, they just gave us the bare minimum just to say that we quote unquote have Black history in the curriculum.
We did something. We taught them something. You know what I'm saying? We taught them something. And that's all they were trying to do. It was get away with teaching us something. And again, it was just the same old stuff. Just very appeasing, like I said, very, very status quo, very meek, slave, be happy to be here. MLK, turning the cheek, very nonviolent. We shall overcome. Let's all sing and, hold hands, be peaceful together and everything else like that. And so that just after a while started to not sit well with my spirit. And so I was lucky to have some parents too, as well, who grew up in the 50s and 60s and then in that Black Power movement kind of era. And so they were somewhat, used to being controversial and somewhat anti-establishment. So, there was only so many times I was going to hear about MLK before finally I just couldn't take it no more, and so it worked out pretty well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I love that some people actually came up with some books to highlight the other incredible Black entrepreneurs, inventors, and the real story behind a lot of this fake history that we were taught. And I'm just like, thank you. And it's not to shame the others, but just to bring awareness so our community would know that we are wonderful, we are great, we are truly the masterminds behind a lot of this incredible creation that we have
Everything is
here
hell of
today.
up, see, let me, Dylan. I'm true. I'm taking a claim on everything of value for the most part. Again, that's why I harken back about it being so important about learning our pre-colonial history, pre-slavery history, because again, in that history, there's founders of geometry and philosophy and modern medicine and and kings and queens that go way back. What I'm saying, and we taught the European when the European was still living in isolation, up in the dark ages and whatnot, and Africans and Black people were still flourishing and creating kingdoms. And so, but if they don't tell you that and they don't teach you that, and you have no one to kind of lead you in that direction, again, you would just go on thinking that everything started with slavery and that a brother should just be happy to be here. And so, turn the other cheek and being all meek and stuff is important when coming from where we came from. And so, but yeah, so it's important.
Absolutely. It is very important. And I'm curious, what wasn't in life or society? You may have already touched upon it a little bit, but what made you want to become a doctor and a professor in your particular studies?
Poverty. I was poor. I
Okay.
mean, I grew up poor, single parent household. I grew up poor and Black in predominantly white areas. And so when you grow up poor in Black, predominantly white areas, I was a pretty good athlete. And so you always stand out in some ways. But the racism and just glowing inequality is just blatant and explicit, and cannot just be ignored. And so, again, a single parent household and growing up poor, my main thing, of course, is like, what's going to be the best way for me to get, to make something, get something, set up something long term, be able to provide a better way, some way or another, for my family, especially. My mom had multiple sclerosis when I was in high school. So, at that point, I was 5'7", 180 pounds soaking wet. My hoop dreams, football dreams and stuff are over with. But I still got to figure out how to get to how to get to some success, get to some kind of career that's going to allow me to also just to make it happen. But I was always smart, but I just never knew, what to do with it, back in those times. So college was it. By the time I got to college, I just knew what I had to do. I mean, I was going to use this brain, use these books. I'm going to just hustle it like a rap artist would, or like a somebody who's hustling the streets would. I was doing the same thing, but with my intelligence, with books and with knowledge. And I was like, and the farthest that I could go was getting a PhD. Originally I thought I was going to go to law school. My mom wanted me to. I grew up watching a lot of Perry Mason before daycare. And so she wanted me to go to law school originally. But when I got to freshman orientation, there was too many people there. This is like back in the early 2000s, a lot of ambulance chasers, a lot of commercials about, oh, have you been hit by a car and things like that.
Oh my God.
So I was like, so by the time I got to freshman orientation, there was just too many people. Place was just packed. And so I walked in. This is before classes even started. So I walk in and this place is like packed. And I just look around like, if all these people are doing it, I'm not doing it. So I just turned around and just left. And so when classes started, though, I took a poli-sci class and I had this like Hungarian professor. He just strutted around and chewed on his glasses and just pointed at students and made us talk. And I was like, I can do that for sure. I can do that for sure. I can do that for sure. And just get to ask all these tough questions and stuff like that, because he's asking these questions like, is it okay to steal? Is it all right for politicians to lie? And these are like all these deep kind of political, kind of philosophical questions. And these are like things I've never heard of and never discussed or talked about before. And I'm thinking, if I can do that for sure. So from then on, I just knew it. I was going to get my PhD in poli-sci and just eventually, end up teaching. I flirted with the idea of maybe running for office at some point, but I'm just too honest, I think, for politics as an elected official. They throw my ass out of there pretty quickly because I'm just too straightforward, too honest, too real, probably. And so, I do. The best way for me to make it happen, make a change, improve my condition, but also uplift and empower others. In that kind of revolutionary spirit from my parents was to teach. Try to teach other people. Keeps you young. Like you always get a new influx of students every 6 months. It's turnover. So, it was really kind of the best way And I was good at communicating and kind of making it happen too. So it just worked out kind of perfect. And you couldn't beat the schedule either. The hours are fantastic.
What are the hours?
Oh, I mean, we get summers off, and we get a month off in the wintertime. So we're talking 8 months out of the year, and then depending on your teaching schedule, sometimes you teach Monday, Wednesday, Fridays only. Some semesters you only teach on Tuesday, Thursdays. So there's a potential for a lot of 4-day weekends in there, 5-day weekends in there if you play your cards right. I couldn't do 9 to 5. 9 to 5 drove me crazy. I tried work 9 to 5. And my anxiety was just through the roof. It just drove me nuts. I'm sitting there sneaking in books under my keyboard and like just banging to get out of there at 9 o'clock. I mean, what am I going to do here all day? So it worked out fantastic.
There it is. There it is. It's interesting looking at it from that perspective because as a teacher or professor, like the schedule is totally different. As a student, it seems overwhelming because you got a lot to do. You got multiple classes, a lot of homework and everything, But from a teacher perspective, it's like, I'm good with the summers off. I'm good with the weekends off and all that stuff. So I'm here for that. And it's interesting you speak about like politics and being too honest for it. And that's the part that makes it even more sad is because we have to be so surface level, politically correct.
So you saying that folks running the day ain't honest? Is that what you're saying? Is that what I heard?
Are they honest? No, they're definitely not honest. Or they're either they're not they're either not honest or they're stupid. One or the other.
Or
that's or both. Yeah. A combination of both.
Or both. You know what I'm saying? Wow. So let me ask you a question. If I were to go in your class right now, what would my perspective on politics be after I complete your class?
Save yourself. Save yourself. Nobody, especially for the classes I teach mainly and like black politics, black political thought and whatnot, I really kind of focus on, the black experience, black political experience and history and whatnot. And so, I think at the end of the day, you'll probably figure out, save yourselves. Government is not the solution to our problems, especially as black people. Throughout our history, 9 times out of 10, government was the problem or has been the problem. If you think about slavery, you think about Jim Crow segregation, and you think about our inability to vote, you think about separation of Brown v. Board, things like that. That's government. You think of redlining, you think about ghettos and black communities that are pretty much gated, roped off and gated off and still off from the rest of society. That's government. And so black people have a long history of doing things ourselves, solving our own problems, especially when you couldn't count on government. You couldn't count on white folks to help us to or anything like that. And so, I think at the end of the day, what I try to come across or people should probably get from my courses is, it starts at home locally with how you treat yourself, how you value yourself, then how you treat your family and raise your family and try to teach your kids and things like that. Because expecting someone else to save black people is just crazy. I always tell my students, like, it's been 600 plus years here now. If there was anything that black people could do in this country, for white people to like us or to grant us some kind of equality, we would have done it by now. Isn't it? We would have done it by now. Believe you me, we fought in every single war. We raised their kids. We taught them how to farm and agriculture. We taught them how to dance, and we listened to all of our songs. They like all of our movies. I mean, what is it left? We follow their church. We pray to their Lord and everything else. What left is there for black people to do in this country that's some kind of a barrier for equality in this country? And the problem is it's just never going to happen. And so we just need to think about it in those kind of terms and focus more internally about what we're doing and how we navigate and organize ourselves. And I think that you'll think about politics much differently under those premises.
All right, I like that. So what role should the government have in 2024?
The role should government have I would say border and national security role is. Keep people safe. Outside of keeping people safe, education and health. I think those are just big things that I think government should be in charge of, because those is what the main role of the government is to create good people, and in order to have good people, you have to have educated, healthy people. And that's really the main stigma. outside of that, you can't really, you can't really dictate faith and religion in this country or anything like that. You can't even guarantee people jobs really in this country due to capitalism. So you can't even necessarily guarantee people money. But what you can, I think, what I think you can though do, you can guarantee education and ability to, to be somewhat healthy, and just make sure that there's some, some safety and some national security and things like that. So, I mean, if you talk about like, limited forms of government, just make sure the government just, again, keep people safe, make sure people are educated because we have a bad education problem in this country, and make sure people are healthy because we've got a terrible health problem in this country too as well. I think if you did most of those things, I think that for the most part, people can start to navigate and solve some of these issues and problems ourselves with being better educated.
Get rid of the Department of Education?
Hell no. No, absolutely not. No, hell no.
I'm just asking.
No. Because what they're trying to do, with that is that getting rid of the Department of Education, what that will do is leave it up to each individual state to determine what education is, right? Yeah. With a government then writing checks, right? So then you'll get Republican governors in some of these states, and then what they will do is they will determine what's to be taught in those schools and whatnot. And if they're in a Republican and a red state, they're going to completely axe and get rid of Black history, anything that comes off as DEI, revolutionary, and stuff like that. And then what they'll do is, because it's at the state level, then with Trump or someone at the national level, what they'll say is, if you try to buck the system, teach something that we don't want you to, then we won't pay you. And that's one of the things that he said, because they're still going to get federally funded, even if decisions are made at the state level. So they'll make a decision at the state level and say, we don't want you teaching anything about Malcolm X or the Black Panther Party, or nothing about Fred Hampton, and we don't want to teach nothing of that. And anybody who does, you're not getting your check from the federal government for education and things like that. And so that is just a complete setup, and we would be suckers to fall for something like that. And that is going to be one of the first ways that you will find Bibles back in every single, and some of these schools, and they'll be teaching you about Moses and the 10 Commandments and slaying Goliath with rocks and all this other stuff that doesn't make any kind of educational sense or have any kind of educational value. So no, definitely not.
No Bibles in schools? Is that what I'm hearing?
No, absolutely not. We're smarter. We gotta be smarter than that. I mean, that stuff is for stuff at home. You can't teach people faith. Okay, that's just not going to work. That's what your parents are for. Okay, that's what your parents are for. Okay, I don't want my fifth grade teacher trying to teach me about the Lord and that teach me about salvation or anything like that. No. Okay, let's bust through this math and science. And I got parents.
Public schools.
Public
schools.
You can teach. Sure. In any school that's getting federal money, any school that we are paying for, that taxpayers are paying for, should not. No, if you want to learn about the Lord from somebody else in one of these private schools, sure, go ahead and pay for it yourself. Good old fashioned private school like these rich white kids are going to. Pay for it yourself. But I don't want my money ain't going to it, and nobody's tax dollars should go to these fifth grade teachers, most of this, who can barely afford textbooks and pencils, trying to teach my son about the Lord and salvations and everything. No. He can come home for that, and I can break it down to him.
I like that. What do you think about the overall quality of the teachers in education?
They're terrible. But it's terrible. But again, they're being led to be terrible. The institutions are failing terrible for a couple of reasons. Because we've almost abandoned the trades with everything being automation and all of this AI and technology, right? And so they're forcing these kids to go to college who do not belong in college. Right. But they're telling them that this is the best way. So now you've got all these schools and all these colleges full of these kids who don't belong there. And they're just getting seized just to get degrees because that's what they've been told to do and been told it's the best way forward. But it's really not. And it's actually also then hurting higher education or hurting education and the other. But for K through 12, most of it's difficult because they are being asked to not only be teachers, but they are asked to also be security guards and counselors. And some of these teachers are parents. Also, this right there, asking these teachers to do too much because parents are doing too much less. I'm sorry, but again, as a Black person, I'm just thinking about what the expectation is, and you cannot, count on these teachers to lead your kid through K through 12, and you won't even help them with your homework, or you don't even bother to read to your own kids or anything that's like that. Like, what do you want the teacher to do? And you want the teacher to monitor their phone, and you want the teacher to make sure that they've eaten. It's like, that is not what teachers are also supposed to do. Like, you're asking the teacher to do half time or third time parenting. And that's because, parents aren't doing their responsibilities when it comes to these kids as far as education goes. Same with technology and these phones. They want the government to regulate TikTok because parents are too lazy to ask their kid what the hell they're doing on their phone in their room all day. And it's just like, again, like, is that what government's meant to be doing, really? Or is that really their job? Because you put a tablet or a phone in front of your kid's face all day and you want the government now to regulate that? It's like, no way. No, you got your kid hooked on a tablet or the phone all day, and now you want the social studies teacher to regulate during a third period because your kid's got, won't step away from his phone for a second. Like, that's not their job. And that's just asking way too much. And so when you ask teachers to do so much on that end, they're not giving their full 100% on the educational end and on the instruction end and on the teaching end. Because, again, they're also being part-time counselors and part-time, therapists all at the same time. And so it makes it difficult. And people have gotten into this, anti-teaching, anti-DEI, anti-critical race theory, anti-diversity. We don't have a lot of black men teachers out there. We don't have a lot of black teachers overall, but especially black men. And so when you've got, black kids, especially the young black boys in a, school to prison pipeline who are told they're not going to be much in education, then now we've got a much bigger problem as well, right? Because now the students don't see the value of education because they're being told predeterminedly, you ain't gonna make it anyway, or you don't have a very good chances of going to college. So go ahead and do this, this instead. And so, it just makes it, the perception of education then is also then getting a bad rap.
It's interesting that you mentioned about the black teachers, because I was just about to ask you, do you see a lot of other black teachers out there? Because I don't think it's like the high number as it should be, because a lot of the students that I've seen, when I just like talk to them, a lot of them, when I grow up, I don't hear them saying I want to be a teacher or an educator, which is kind of sad, but I'm hoping like there are more black educators out there.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm in Oklahoma now. I was at the University of Missouri before then, and I was in Oregon before then. And in a lot of these places, I'm the first black professor that a lot of these students have ever seen or especially have had. Not only their first teacher in college, but some of them their first teacher ever. And for those who have, a lot of times I'm the first black male teacher that they've had. They might have had a black female teacher, a black woman teacher at some point. So that is a lot of that going on for sure. And some of these red states and some of these areas, some of these students who come from small towns, they don't even see black people at all. I remember being in a class and the student said they had never even seen a black person before until they came to campus. And this is 2023, 22, we're in the 2020s here, and you never even encountered a black person in real life until you came to a college campus and saw the black students there. So it's definitely also an issue and a problem because black students, especially if they're, talking about themselves or trying to be empowered and learn things, there is a value in learning things from people who look like you. There is a certain benefit of the doubt that these students expect to get and or leniency and a level of understanding culturally that they expect when they deal with other black teachers and whatnot, that goes a long way for sure. And the expectation that those black teachers have something at stake, and they see a value in teaching black students and stuff too as well. So that becomes heavily important. I highlight all the time for my students, historically speaking, that one of the, desegregation and, the ending of Brown v. Board, and, busing and those things that, may have been beneficial in regards to, integrating public schools. But it was an absolute travesty for black teachers because they were not part of the deal. When Brown v. Board hit, we started integrating schools. That was only for integrating the students. They didn't talk about none of the teachers. Prior to Brown v. Board, majority of black students, black kids had black teachers in black areas. But when they started busing them across districts and whatnot, those, the black teachers didn't make the cut. And so we have had a significant drop off in black teachers. And again, especially black men, especially. And so, I deal a lot with being the first, black teacher or black professor that a lot of our black students have had.
With you being the first, you ever have conversations that after you've been their teacher, you've actually inspired them to become a professor?
I mean, I would hope so, for sure. I definitely have some. I definitely have some students and grad students who are in PhD programs, grad school programs, publishing, and becoming professors. So that part of it, for sure, and that's one of the good things about it. Is having that carryover for sure. And so, there's definitely has been some good movement and trying to, if you really want to make a change, if you really want to feel like, that you can, kind of make a difference on young people. You're trying to make a change. Sometimes old people are, they don't want to hear nothing, and you can't teach them nothing. Kind of set in their ways, and so sometimes you try to find them young people, who still might be open minded to some ideas, might want to hear a few things. And so, I remember Tupac once said, he may not change the world, but he might be that spark. What I'm saying, to that next person who will then change the world. And so I view it that way. What I'm saying, in our 40s now, time might have passed us by. But if we can reach that one student, sometimes it only takes one. You get to that one student, most of it is, and you follow them, and you nurture them, and most of it is, and you cultivate that relationship and make it work, and they become that next one who might be able to, who might make that change that you're looking for. And so it's very important, and working with students and trying to get that next group, that next revolutionary group, that group that's thinking of the world differently, trying to see things differently, have different ideas about what the future of the Black community in this country looks like, and courageous, what I'm saying, got a little grit and a little bit of will to them, what I'm saying, and aren't necessarily too up on social media and don't really care about being liked and stuff like that. Got a little grit and stuff like that. You find them ones, we're getting them. Now you're talking, and now you've got that next group.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I just want to pay some homage to some of the live viewers right now. And Yakima said, when it comes to teaching, it becomes babysitting instead of mental growth. Yeah. And we want to read from Chanel Narcissus. For teachers to be responsible for educating the entire country yet are paid the least is ridiculous. They have to take on multiple roles and are barely able to supply the proper resources in the classroom.
Oh yeah. I mean, you're paying. There's people who work at Walmart who are getting paid more than teachers are. And these teachers, what I'm saying, again, have your kids. It's just like, you just think about the value. What I'm saying. And if you think about in a capitalist country like this one, people put their money on, on where their value is, where their mouth is. What we used to say back in the day, back in the 90s when I grew up, put your money where your mouth is, and that's what people are doing. And so when you pay teachers these pennies, what you're telling them is, I don't see too much value in you teaching my kid algebra or math or whatever else it is. Okay, I feel like I gotta drop my kid off here from 7 to 3, 7 to 45. They're gonna be in safe hands. They're gonna get a little something else it is to be productive in the world. But other than that, what I'm saying, I'm not expecting too much out of you. If they paid these students, believe you me, if you want to get our best and brightest, people to be teachers, you pay these teachers, a comparable wage, and look at the quality of teachers that would come and the quality of people who would be teachers. A lot of people who, have the character and the kind of value to be good teachers don't want to be teachers because they get paid, again, pennies. They don't get paid very much. And so, who you end up getting doesn't be of quality. So that person is absolutely right as far as the pay goes. That's just how capitalism works in this country.
Yeah, that's facts. Because I know a lot of people was just not going to do that. Not for that kind of money. You know what I mean? They're like, nah, I'm good with that. I'm good with that. You know what I mean? Back when I was in my college days, I was like, you know what? I probably could do some of the stuff. Then I seen some folks what they was making. I'm like, nah, right. I'm good with that.
Right? To be breaking up fights, to be trying to get people to confiscate people's phones, to deal with their social problems when they're fighting with other students. So a lot of these students have home issues, so they haven't eaten all day. Most it is, right? Or they're barely showing up. Most it is, right? They don't have a computer right at home, so they can't do the homework because it's something online always in this day and age. They don't have a tablet or whatnot, or they have other siblings and they only have one computer and they have to fight over it and share over it and stuff like that. And so you're trying to, and they've got these quotas now. They're trying to force you to pass some of these students. Also is with minimal, grades and middle input and stuff like that. So absolutely, again, on top of being in your field and actually teaching the course material and lecture and stuff too as well. Absolutely not for some people. I will not do it.
Facts. And then on some occasion, you got some folks who want to come back and shoot school up. You know what I'm saying? You got that.
Yeah. Absolutely. They don't pay me enough for that neither.
Yeah. It's facts. Yeah, get out of here with all that. Yeah, I saw where somewhere was trying to pass the law where the teachers had to carry guns. I'm like, come on, man.
Come on. At $28,000 a year, now you want me to carry a firearm as well, and I got to go through firearm training. You know what I'm saying?
So now when the student picked the lock and got the gun and shoot everybody up, then it's on me, I guess. You know what I'm saying?
Can you imagine some of these teachers, just firing on the students? Are you insane? Like,
get out of here.
That teacher
Cops
is
can't shoot. Cops
yeah,
can't shoot.
exactly.
You know what I
Barely.
mean?
Exactly. You want to talk about traumatized? You want to traumatize a teacher? He'll let this teacher have to open fire on a kid, bro, and see how traumatized that teacher is coming back to
Facts.
school or coming back
Facts.
to any kind of classroom, showing up for work after having to do something like that. Give me a break.
Yep. Especially if they then hit a couple other people. They had nothing to do
Yeah,
with this.
come
They hit the
on.
people cowering in the corner. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
Get
yeah.
out of it.
Just blindly firing. Blindly
Yes.
firing.
That's
Give me a
facts.
break.
Yeah.
That doesn't make
Yeah.
no
Cops
sense.
can't shoot. Cops are randomly shooting randoms in the area,
Yeah,
firing
yeah.
at people. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, you know the cops can't shoot because I'm telling you right now, man. I've seen every episode of NCIS and Criminal Minds out there. So believe you me, if they want to hit you in the kneecap or the shoulder, they can. Okay, if they're good enough to hit you in the old kneecap or the shoulder, they can certainly do so. This new generation of cops, they're just firing and just
It's
hitting
whatever.
everything in
Yeah.
sight, hitting
Yeah.
everything
I'm
in
going to
sight.
empty the clip. Empty the
Yeah,
clip.
yeah, yeah.
Whatever it
Oh
is.
yeah,
I'm going to empty the clip until I can no longer shoot. You know.
leaving no doubt.
There it is. There it
Oh
is.
my
All right.
gosh.
There. So what level do you normally teach in? You know what I mean? You said you doing college exclusively?
Exclusively at the college level, man. I just didn't have the patience like we've been talking about for K through 12. Now these students pay, so there's a certain level of responsibility that comes along with when
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
at the
yeah,
college
yeah,
course.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not driving no school bus. I'm not picking no kids up. I'm not talking to nobody's parents. Okay, you pay to come here. You're an adult. Damn it. There's an expectation of you just showing up
Yeah.
and being here and doing the work. Again, I'm not calling nobody's home. I'm not doing any of that stuff. And I like to be able to teach that way. And some of the course things that I talk about, I teach about the way that I talk and communicate. You know what I'm saying? It's not for K through 12. You know what I'm saying? Again, I'm pretty honest, straightforward. I swear a little bit in my courses because I just like to just teach like I talk. And so it's for responsible adults and people who can make decisions and can make up their own mind. And so I can't really do K through 12, but I do everywhere from freshmen to seniors though. So we're talking 18 to 25 to 30 years old.
Got you. So what's the buy-in with the way that you teach? From the students.
Buy-in is usually pretty good because I only talk about stuff that matters. And I only talk about stuff that's important. I do not believe in wasting these kids' time. I don't believe in wasting my time. So I don't try to hit on nothing, not a lesson plan, not a lecture, not an assignment that doesn't make sense or that doesn't, give them something in some valuable way. Because these kids also got like you were saying, 3-4 classes in one day, and they got homework and so you're really trying to get their attention. You want to make sure that your stuff is important so they take it seriously. So I'm not really trying to waste there's no time. And again, I teach everything. Most of my stuff is about Black, studies, Black people, Black culture. So everything that I talk about, I try to relate to who they are as people, Blackness, what it's like to be Black in this country. These are Black college students. How was it growing up with the music that you're listening to? How do you fellowship? Did you go to church? How was your parents like and your siblings like? Did you go to predominantly white high school? What was that relationship like? You're the only Black kid, those kind of things. And so when I teach about Black popular culture, I'm talking about sports and athletes and hip hop and music and R&B and things like that. With this new generation, right? These new ones, I'm a product of the 90s. And so I tell a lot of 90s, R&B hip hop jokes that these students just don't never seem to get because it's a different era. But I
We don't know
get
these
up.
people.
No, none of these people.
Like, we don't know this. We don't know. We
I
don't
tried
know
to
who
hit
702 is.
We did Black Popular Music lecture. I did a lecture on Black Popular Music a couple of weeks ago, and I tried to hit him with the old Boys and Men ABC BBD, the old East Coast Family thing, and these kids didn't know what the hell that was. They just crickets in the background. Like, boy, that line used to kill back in the early 2000s. That line used to get them all the time on the whole East Coast Family tick, but no, I mean, I'm trying to relate. I'm trying to relate to them, and I'm trying to bring it home to them. I'm trying to take it home to these students, so that when they leave that classroom, one, they know a little bit more about Black people and a little bit more about themselves. But two, they feel like they're a little bit more prepared to go out here and slay and feel empowered and feel like they can make it happen. Like they've got a message of says that they can conquer and do some things.
I see you, Chanel. Yeah, we old school now. That's very true. That's very
These
true.
new kids, man. I mean,
that was 30 plus years ago. You gotta remember that. It was 30 years ago.
I did a Black music assignment with my students during Black Popular Music Week, and I asked them, it's about Black popular culture. So I asked them each to submit one song that they felt was significant to the culture, contributed some way, a powerful song, a song that they felt, really kind of moved them going. Man, these students, like I said, Soldier Boy, Tell 'em, Crank That was in there, and I'm thinking, what in the world?
I get it. I get it. He was the first person to pop off of social media.
It's facts. It's very
He
true.
was the original.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's original. Yep.
That's these new students. That's this new generation right there. The first brother on YouTube. And that's what they got. It's like, oh yeah, Soldier Boy, Tell 'em that Cranked Out. That was the business. Great to the culture. Great for the culture, they say.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
So what? All right, I'm a DJ. So what would be a black song that you would pick, and in that room?
Oh man, I mean, for me personally, I think probably the most significant song that I think of as far as black culture goes is James Brown, "I'm Black and I'm Proud." It's mainly because back in them days, it's being proud to be black wasn't the thing. You know what I'm saying? And like that wasn't the message that was really hitting at the time. Black people were trying to integrate. Again, back to the MLK thing. We're trying to be nice and gentle, just trying to get in the building. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Don't want to cause no problems. We're just trying to integrate and be in there. So for a brother to really kind of come out and talk about "I'm black and I'm proud" and get everybody dressed in black and the afros and the fist pumping and stuff like that. Like for me personally, as far as the empowerment of being black and trying to set that new standard about we got this, we can do our own thing. Like for me, that's a huge one right there as far as the culture goes and kind of setting it up. But I would put the message up there as well.
Your father's song. Message. No, I told her that's one of her father's favorite songs.
Yeah, I mean, I put that up there too.
Self-Destruction strong too. I see that. Yeah, okay.
West Coast All Stars, man, come on now. We're all in the same gang. I'll put that up. There were some good ones, man. Back in that generation, wrote this for sure. I would put, "F the Police" by NWA up there. Most, as a kind of a cultural song. So there are some good ones. "Fight the Power." I'll put that up there as another one that was huge in the '90s as well. Revolutionary songs. You know what I'm saying? These are songs that were anti-status quo, that taught black people everything that they didn't want you to hear, didn't want you to know, and they didn't want you to get. You know what I'm saying? Again, fight the power. You can do it your own way. Being proud to be black, being proud to have your own stuff. Like that stuff was new back in those days. And so that was huge for the culture, I think.
Yeah. Elvis was a hero the most, but he didn't mean, you know what I'm saying? Everybody knows.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. No one was saying that back then when you were just trying to fight to get on MTV. And you were just, you got to have a video out. You were just trying to get on Yo MTV Raps. You were just, happy to get on. Everybody's real peaceful and congratulatory and integrated and stuff like that. So for a brother to come out and just, again, shots fired at a white great like Elvis, again, for sure. Back in those days, all the people in the neighborhood looked up Elvis after that. And, if they weren't familiar with Elvis. And so, that whole thing went deep into the culture.
Yeah. What's crazy about that line, he said it twice. You know what I'm saying? It's the
what's important.
Elvis was the hero to most. Then Elvis, he said it a couple of times.
Yeah.
Like he wanted to make sure you're hearing what he said. So
yeah.
Shout out to Chuck D. You know what I mean?
Very important.
Chuck D. Yeah, shout out to Chuck D. All right.
Oh yeah.
TQuest, talk to me. You a little younger. What song would you pick?
Don't do that.
Come on, I'm trying to, Soldier Boy. No.
Wow. So that's what do it. Anyways, well, I'll tell you right now, if you would have came to career day or college day just to hear you talk, I would have signed up for your class.
Yeah, I get that a lot. I try my best for sure. Again, it's about the students, and we're trying to uplift and empower. You know what I'm saying? Like we're trying to change. We're trying to make it work. Again, the country is just in a crazy place right now, crazy state. Black people are continually, still trying to find our way in this thing. You know what I'm saying? They're running the sister up there for president right now, and it's not looking good. There's a lot of hate. There's a lot of hate. There's a lot of turmoil going on with that. And so, regardless, Black people are going to have to find our way. And so, I just take pride in the honor and privilege in being able to educate Black people about themselves, about our history and culture.
Absolutely.
Politics.
So give me a prediction. Next week, next Friday, where you think this country's going to be?
Burning down, most likely. But I say that, and I say that depending on who wins, because I'm telling you, because I have a feeling that I have a feeling that even if Harris on Tuesday night, when we go to sleep on Tuesday night, if Harris is winning, I feel like that Trump is just setting this up to take it to the courts. They're already planting those seeds of voter fraud and illegals voting and stuffing about. They'll be saying that all week. They'll be saying that all week, and
They're saying it now.
They're saying, you see what I'm saying? We're already a week out, and they're already starting it, right? So Tuesday night, them votes will be coming in. Every state's not going to be done on Tuesday night. So the states that are left over, they're going to be, you know what I'm saying? If they pronounce her the winner, they're going to go straight to court, and Trump's going to be dragging this thing out for weeks on end, trying to get these states to switch their. There you go, months on end, trying to get these states to, switch their relatives and call voter fraud and switch it up relatives. And at that point, everybody's going back and forth. Hostility. The rhetoric is going to just get worse. People on the Trump, the violence and the ridiculousness is going to get an all-time high, and it's just going to be bad. You know what I'm saying? Love your kids, hide your wives, hide your kids. And, black people, what I'm saying, buckle down. What I'm saying, stay out the way.
Yeah, stay away from the folks with the God and guns. Vote Trump. Stay away from them folks.
Exactly. It's some of the biggest. Makes no sense. Some of the most hypocritical people on the planet. It just blows my mind. Again, living in Oklahoma and Missouri before then, and living in red states, it's just
so. Let me ask you, Oklahoma. I have zero idea. What is the black percentage population in Oklahoma?
Sure pretty small. Pretty small for the most part. Pretty small.
I'm sure they got pockets, maybe.
Yeah. We've got Tulsa, Oklahoma City. Okay. Which are the big metropolitan towns and a majority black areas in Tulsa and Oklahoma City. There are some, smaller towns. Oklahoma used to have the largest percentage of black municipalities and state-owned towns back before, 1925 and the Tulsa Race Massacre, you might have heard of, and things like that. And so we've got a pretty significant Native American population in Oklahoma as well. There's a lot of reservations and tribal nations here in Oklahoma too as well.
More native than African American. I'm assuming.
Probably so. Yeah.
What about Hispanics? I have no idea.
Not so much. Not so much of a Hispanic population as in some of these other areas. It's a conservative place. It's a conservative town, red state, with red governors. Man, they're not too hearkening and keen to a lot of diversity and a lot of and it's
keep it light. They won't keep it light. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. And it's a poor state too as well. So I mean, if you're poor and looking to kind of come up and make it happen, there's not a lot of money here. There's not a lot of excess wealth that but people for you to kind of make it happen here, like you see on some of the coasts in California, Oregon, Washington State, places like that, because there ain't no real wealth here or anything like that. And so you don't get a lot of Hispanics and a lot of people like that.
Absolutely. And we actually have a question from the audience, which is the same question I was going to ask. Are you from Oklahoma? If not, what made you choose Oklahoma?
Okay, so funny story. I actually was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma, but I was taken away. I was taken away from my family at 2 years old, and we ended up making it to Portland, Oregon. And then when I was in Portland, Oregon, from the age of 2 years on. When my mom had finally figured out that I was in Portland, Oregon, and came to rescue me, she didn't have any money to get back to Oklahoma. So
you mean literally taken?
Yeah. In the middle of the night.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
In the middle of the night, and so when my mom finally figured out where we were at and had the money to come and get us, she didn't have any money to get back to Oklahoma. So we ended up just staying in Portland. And so I actually did K through 12 in Portland, Oregon, out on the West Coast, Pacific Northwest. And then after high school, of course, I went to college in Seattle and then Nevada, and then I went to Washington D.C. to get my PhD. And then I ended up teaching at the University of Missouri. So actually, not from Oklahoma. What got me to Oklahoma was one, the money, but two, the opportunity. Post Trump, there was a lot. I was in the Department of Black Studies at the University of Missouri, and another red state with a red state governor, anti-DEI, anti-critical race. And I was in the Department of Black Studies. And the writing was, we had a mass exodus of black professors. I think in a 4-month period, we lost 8 professors who all ended up going other places. And the writing was just on the wall that this place was hostile to black faculty, especially to black research, black studies. They're not gonna have you. And so I knew that I need to do something else and go somewhere I was going to be safe. And so at Oklahoma State, I'm in the Center for Africana Studies, but I'm also in the Department of Political Science. And political science is what I have my PhD in, and that's not going anywhere. So I also ended up in Oklahoma for safety professional reasons. They'll be teaching political science, throughout all of its, history and whatnot. And so I'll be safe over here. So even in one of these red states, a governor gets funky and the people start begging, to get rid of all things black and no more teaching black things, then I'll still be safe and incubated here with a PhD in political science. And I can still go out here and teach American government 101.
I like that. Look at that. So put the questions on the thing. I ain't answering that.
My father at the time, he had fallen on some hard times with a little bit of a criminal record out of the military, and just had a hard time finding a job and whatnot. And so his family had moved to Oregon, and so he felt he'd get a better shot. So my mom used to work the graveyard shift at a little computer software chip factory. And so, when she went to work, 10 o'clock at night, my dad just took it upon himself to just swoop me and my brother up in the middle of the night and hit the road. And so by the time my mom came home 7 o'clock in the morning, we were already had a head start, driving across to Oregon. And so, yeah, it wasn't until, almost a year later that she had made the trip across the mountains and came and got us.
Now, see, this is a movie.
Yeah, see that.
That I would watch.
Yeah. I remember the day she showed up at our doorstep like it was nothing else. This too, because I remember me and my brother just sitting in the apartment complex just watching cartoons, and next thing you know, there's a banging on the door, and my dad was gone at the moment, but his little girlfriend was at the house. So there's this banging on the door, and we're just looking, and my dad's girlfriend opens the door, and as soon as that door got unlocked, my mom bust that door down so damn fast. And my dad's little girlfriend took like a giant step back. My mom just gave her this look like, listen, if you even think about moving, I'm going to bust you in your head. And my mom had, she grabbed my brother up in one arm and she grabbed me up in the other arm. And she gave that girl one more look like you just want to make sure you get the point. And she and marched us up out of there. But then we had no money or no places to stay after that. So we were just there. And, it took a little bit of time, and she ended up getting a job. But for a first little bit, we were just staying a little Ford Escort, and back in those days, you could hang out behind the grocery store and get those those muffins and those bread things like that they're throwing out the night before, and you could get by on those things back in those days. And so, it took a little time for her to go on her feet, but before you know it, we were there. It was just time to go.
Ooh. Next on Lifetime. So,
so long story short, so now I'm back in Oklahoma. So now here I am back in Oklahoma. Where I was from 40 years later. Yeah. Wow. I'm back in Oklahoma all over again.
Exactly. Like so full circle. Full circle. But this has been absolutely incredible having you here on the platform.
Facts. I enjoy it.
You are super dope. Like you really are. But
appreciate that.
Quick question from the audience before we wrap it up. How old are you? How old were you when she found you?
3 years old.
Oh wow!
Oh, all right.
She was able to snatch them both up.
Yeah. She was able to do a quick snatching. Yeah. One kid in each arm. Just a kid in each arm. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And she was a bad mama jamma back in those days too, so she could give you that look like don't even think about it.
Yeah, she could. Yeah. Look, say something. I dare you.
Yeah.
say something. Go ahead. I dare you to say something.
It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty. Yeah. Mind your business. Mind your business.
Yeah, give me a reason.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like that.
He said, "Give me a reason." For sure.
Okay, here we go.
But there it is. Yeah. All right. Where do you teach again? And the name of the class? Can it be taken as a non-credit course?
Absolutely. I am at Oklahoma State University. I am. OSU in Stillwater at Oklahoma State University for sure. And I teach Intro to Africana Studies, Black popular culture, Black political thought, Black politics, and minority politics and representation in the U.S. You can find me on the university's website, and the classes absolutely they can be audited, taken. We have a good time in there for sure. I'm very proud to be doing it, and I think you're always going to walk away with something. Learning more about yourself, learning more about Black people, and hopefully feeling empowered as well.
It says
Absolutely.
virtual option is a
No
question.
virtual option, man. I mean, I'm better in person. Sometimes to really get the full vibe and the aura, man, and the energy transformation. That's got to be done in person. I can try to do a little something. I can try to do a little something in via the scape here. But as far as teaching goes, to really make sure that they feel it, to make sure that they're really getting it, I gotta be patient in the classroom a little bit with them, and they got to get that energy that I'm providing in person.
I think what Chanel is saying is kind of like me, like just listening to you, like you want to know more, you want to learn more, and realistically, everybody's not going Oklahoma.
Right. Hey, get the
Okay.
books. Hey, get the books. They're out there. The books are on Amazon.
Tell them about the books. Tell them about that. This is
Yeah. So I mean, the first book I wrote was about is on Black leadership, the crisis of Black leadership. Just how post 1970s, right? They killed Martin. They killed Malcolm. There's an assassination attempt on us. Against Huey and Stokely, Angela Davis incarceration, the whole nine. And so there's a void of Black leadership. Post 1970, Black people, one of our biggest problems in this country that we have right now, culturally and politically, is that we just have no leadership. It's just absent. And it's important because every group that's ever survived in this country, every other or any other place, especially in nation building goes, needs some leadership. Someone's got to be directing the ship, holding people accountable, providing the ideas to make the whole thing work. And post 1970s, Black people just have had no leadership, and as a result, you have seen, social or economics, data has just declined, in the last 50, 60 years, and we've just got things have just gotten worse and worse for us because of that leadership. And so the first book really kind of focuses on that, and then what it takes to be a good leader, and what good leadership looks like for Black people, and why we need it, and why it's so important. So that really is what the first book kind of harkens on. It's very important. It's called Leaders of the New School. I took that obviously from my hip hop following, Roast It Is, Busta Rhymes, and Roast It Is, and the Leaders of the New School rap group of those days, and so it really kind of stuck with me. So it's called Leaders of the New School, and it's about the crisis of Black leadership post 1970. It's very important. And then the second book that I wrote that just came out last year is about about Black males growing up into Black politics and just Black identity and what it was like just to be a young Black male and then trying to figure out how politics worked and how to get involved in politics when you grow up, again, a young Black male and poor, and just trying to make it and just, what that identity looks like and how it kind of fits into politics. I talk a lot there's a lot of talk in there about, Tupac. I grew up in that 90s generation, and Tupac Shakur had an immense impact on my understanding of education and of Blackness and of politics, and so it really kind of, when I was in high school before I went to college, like this, that Tupac, those years, 94, 95, 96, really was like my peak high school years. And so I was angry young Black male, so it is again, poor and just what the hell's going on in this society, in this world. And so this Tupac generation for me in 94, 95, 96, 97 just really kind of took me to a different place and inspired me really to kind of, have a little bit better understanding. We talked about fight the power and things like that. And again, in that time in 96, 97, 95, 96, 97, again, it's very kind of like integration-y, very like, let's all kumbaya, hold hands. And so, finally, again, I'm an angry young Black male. And then Tupac comes along and he's just like, man, we don't need that. All brothers, we're trapped. Hold your head up. You know what I'm saying? Your ass and taking names. I don't give a what. You know what I'm saying? Just trapped. Young Black males. And I'm just like, boom, here it is. Now, for me as a 15, 16-year-old kid, again, young Black male, poor, looking to find this kind of a way, a little bit disengaged. And then this brother comes along talking about, I don't give a what. And again, words of wisdom and fight the. I'm like, oh, I'm in here. This is it. And so, he's talking about Black nationalism, and he's talking about Huey and his mom, and he's talking about the Black Panther Party, who taught us, again, a white man's world. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm an angry Black kid in a white school going, this sounds about right to me. Boy, this sounds about right. He's talking. He's like he's talking to me. He's like he's talking to me. Because I'm angry, and I'm looking at all these white folks. And I'm going, boy, you people wish, bruh. I'm trying to tell you right now. And so before you know, like, bam, I got to do black stuff. Whatever I end up doing, is in politics. It's got to be related to black people. It's got to be, about black empowerment, black power. I've never heard, until that time, I never heard anybody say, black people, we can do our own thing. We don't need this thing. We don't need them. We can do our own thing. And this was like, boom. And so it really kind of takes over. So now, so the book is just about, that crossover from that moment into teaching politics, because that's a big, big leap and a big jump going forward from like, everybody kumbaya, vote, and everybody just, be great. And you can, Bill Clinton and everything is great. And we're going to go across lines to somebody saying, oh no, black people, this is a setup. We're being trapped in here in society. This is a white man's world, and we need to fight back, pull up them guns and turn it on your oppressor. And I was like, shoot, sign me up. So that's
where can they find your books at, man?
Books are on the website. The books are on Amazon, both of them. Stephen Graves, both the books can be found on Amazon, paperback, hardbook. They got a hardback. The website you see there, gravyology.com. The books can be found there too as well. Barnes and Noble, your local library. They're definitely out there, but I know we're in an Amazon generation. So Amazon for sure, best bet. Or the website.
There it is. Let's see if you like the conversation.
Yeah.
Go out there and support the man. Get his books. Show your support for the man. That's the way it is. Don't just say your support. Show your support. You know what I mean? I enjoyed the conversation. The conversation was great. You know what I mean?
I appreciate it. Me too.
Yes. Great job, man. Great job. Made Oklahoma make folks want to go out to Oklahoma City. Oklahoma for a minute. You know what I'm saying?
55 seconds.
Yeah, man. Hey, come out to check us out. Go out to Tulsa, see Black Wall Street, represent for the culture out there. Definitely. And, give me a holler if you find yourself in Oklahoma for sure.
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever touched Oklahoma. I know I've flown over Oklahoma.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I've ever touched that state.
The closest I've been to Oklahoma is watching Tulsa King with
Walton. Was it shot in Tulsa? Yeah.
I don't know where it was shot. But I'm a couple episodes behind. We got to catch up.
Yeah. Okay, you know Tulsa King. That's got Stallone in it, right? Is that the one with Stallone?
Stallone's in
there.
Yes.
Tulsa King with Stallone. Okay, I'll be on the lookout for it.
It's not bad. It's not
really
bad. It's not bad.
So,
yeah.
But this has been an absolute pleasure, Professor, having you here on the TQuest Show with DJ El Nino. Do not be a stranger.
Yeah.
And thank you for sharing with us your words of wisdom and your knowledge, and just reminding people that blackness is great.
That's right. No, I appreciate you having me. Anytime, just give me a holler. I always appreciate it. I really enjoyed it anytime.
Yeah, I might holler at you in a couple of weeks after this election.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I'm serious.
See how that prediction comes. See how that prediction comes. Let's see how that prediction goes for sure. I mean, I'm getting Harris in a landslide, or this gets real ugly for about a month afterwards, for sure.
Yeah. What I'm thinking is we may go to sleep in dudes in the lead.
Yeah.
But her votes will come in later.
Later at night.
Yeah. That's kind of what I think is going to happen.
Yeah.
But
I'm telling you, there's going to be a lot of white people, especially some women, especially who might vote for Harris on the low too. And this is why I'm thinking. I'm
sure there's
might be like a Harris Lance, like a Harris whooping, because people will want to vote for her on the low. Or like you said, we're going to go to sleep on Tuesday night, not knowing, or he's in the lead, and then her votes trickle down the road.
Other votes going to come in, and they're going to be lying, saying they fake and all. Get out of here. That's where it always happens.
You bet.
Yeah, but real talk, in 2 weeks, I may have to make
post-election. Let's do it.
All right.
Absolutely.
There it is.
And on that note, stick around, Doctor. At the end, I got something really quickly I want to share with you. But it's been a pleasure to have you here on the TQuest Show with DJ El Nino.
Gravyology.com support. All right.
Exactly. And you can follow us at DJ El Nino on the social media sites that he cares about.
Yeah, DJ El Nino. There it is. Absolutely. Where can they find you?
Well, Doctor, where can they find you on social
So
media?
they can find me. Yes, indeed. What am I on the? What's that? The Instagram at Gravy PhD. Same as the Gravy on Facebook page. At one Stephen Graves on the Twitter. I don't know if I'm doing the TikTok thing or not, but if so, at Gravy PhD. I don't even know what these kids are on these days, man. They on everything. I'm out of the loop. I'm from the MySpace generation, so I mean, I'm still trying to figure this out, man. If my music's gonna play when you visit my site. But yes, the website gravyology.com as well. And yeah, man, I can be found out there for sure.
All right, there it is.
Absolutely,
There it is.
absolutely. And of course, you guys can find me, your favorite, at TQuestGLM on all social media sites. And do not forget to download your TQuest mobile app in your Google Play Store and your App Store.
Here to rock them, 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 here to rock the mic.
The TQuest Show with DJ El Nino. Relatable, informative, yet entertaining. If you think you can handle being a guest on the show, contact us today. We've interviewed independent artists to mainstream, regular folk to celebrities. You never know who's going to be our special guest, and one day it may just be you. Follow us on all social media platforms at TQuestGLM and DJ El Nino.